What's up, everyone, and welcome to Season 1, Episode 6 of Director's Spotlight. This is where we go through the entire filmography of a director, and of course, we are covering the films of Steven Spielberg this season. We are up to the 6th film in his filmography, which is Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm Nate, and I am here with my co-host, Alex.
What's up?
And Evan.
Hello.
And I know you guys have seen this movie. Obviously, we've all seen it. Alex, we just did a ranking of this franchise.
Yeah.
Now, by the time this episode comes out, it'll be like over a month, but we just recently ranked this franchise. So fresh in our minds. Evan, I'm going to go to you. You already know the question. Did you see this one more or less than Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
More than Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
More than Close Encounters. All right. That's going to be the standard. Close Encounters. Everything will be if you saw it more or less than that. Okay. Now, Alex, how many times? I mean, a lot of times.
I saw this growing up. Not more than Temple of Doom, but I seen this a lot. So yeah.
Okay. This is the one I've seen the most of the three Indiana Jones movies. Yeah. But I haven't watched all of them a ton. Maybe seen this one like 4 times and the other one's 3, something like that. Like barely more. And that's not counting this like rewatch. I just mean in general, it's like one ahead all the time. So let's get into it. This movie came out in 1981. It had a $20 million budget. So actually $15 million less than Close Encounters. But the box office was $389.9 million. So a mega hit, another blockbuster, that would be 3 in a row. Not 3 in a row. It would be 3 out of the last 4 because 1941 was not a mega hit. But it was a hit.
It was a hit.
It was a hit, a moderate hit, and this was a mega hit. So 3 mega hits, but 4 straight where he did not lose money and is doing well. This has a 94% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes and a 96% audience score. So let's just say everybody likes it and a little bit of percentage of people are weird. And pretend like this is not a good movie. This was nominated for 9 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director. So we will point it out anytime it gets nominated for those. It was nominated for both. It won neither, but it did win 5 Academy Awards. It was like editing, sound, special effects, and another one. I think like set design or something.
Oh, like clothing and stuff like that?
Okay. It was nominated for Best Score, but did not win that either. Okay, let's get to the fun facts. Now, I got 4. Some of them are longer than others, but that's okay. I thought they were pretty funny. First one, George Lucas conceived Raiders of the Lost Ark in 1973, shortly after finishing the comedy drama American Graffiti. He saw an old movie poster of a heroic character leaping from a horse to a truck, and it reminded him of early 20th century serial films that he enjoyed as a youth. Those being Buck Rogers, Zorro's Fighting Legion, Spy Smasher, and Don Winslow of the Navy. He wanted to make a B movie modeled on those serials and conceived The Adventures of Indiana Smith, featuring a daring archaeologist named after his Alaskan Malamute dog. Now, Spielberg hated the name Indiana Smith, believing it would remind audiences of Steve McQueen character named Nevada Smith. So they ended up coming together and changed it to Jones. And that's how we got Indiana Jones. He's almost Indiana Smith. The Indiana Jones character is based on real-life actors Clint Eastwood and Toshiro Mifune, who, of course, the Man with No Name and the Japanese version of the Man with No Name, pretty much, because he was in Yojimbo, Sanjuro, that actor, who also was in 1941. So I'm guessing Spielberg's a fan of this guy because he's using him to base his character. And he was based off of those 2 real-life people and the fictional character of James Bond. So if you take Clint Eastwood and Toshiro Mifune and James Bond and mix them together, that is what they were going for with Indiana Jones as a character. And last but not least, George Lucas also wanted Jones to be a kung fu practitioner and a playboy, funding his lifestyle with the spoils of his adventures. But Steven Spielberg and writer Lawrence Kasdan felt the character was complicated enough being an adventurer and an archaeologist. So Spielberg suggested making Indiana Jones an avid gambler or an alcoholic. But George Lucas wanted Jones to be a role model who is honest and true and trusting. So ultimately, they all kind of put their heads together and this is the character we got, but he was almost a drunk alcoholic gambler who was also a kung fu fighter and a playboy.
I would watch that.
I would watch that too. I don't know if it would make these movies better or worse, but I know I would still watch that all day. Definitely leans more to the B movie side of things if he does. Yeah. That's like Austin Powers. That sounds like Austin Powers in an adventure movie, pretty much. Yeah, those are the fun facts I have. Anything there stick out to you as interesting? Yeah, go ahead, Evan.
So I think it was the writer who also was obsessed with comic books. And I'm wearing my DuckTales because he was obsessed with the DuckTales comic books. And a lot of iconic moments in this movie is actually taken straight from this comic. The rolling of the ball, the statue scene, like a lot of that stuff is actually shown up first as George McDuck, as he was an adventurer, had lots of money. So a lot of people often, when they go read those old comic books, will see those scenes. So George McDuck is technically a little part of who Indiana Jones is.
Ah, very interesting. I also read somewhere that that originally Lucas did not want Spielberg to direct this movie. He wanted the guy, I forget his name because I don't have it in front of me, but he had directed the Outlaw Josie Wales, I believe. He was he did some Westerns and stuff. He wanted him to direct it. And it kept kind of like not working out. And on a trip to Hawaii with Spielberg and his wife and Lucas, he was hiding. George Lucas was in hiding because he didn't want to hear any negative press for Star Wars, which ended up being a monster hit. And they kind of talked about it, and that's where he ended up deciding, you know what? It's your job, Steve. I think you could do it. And he ended up directing the movie. Now, that's the fun facts. Let's get into it. This is I think we can all agree, this is a classic film at this point. 45, almost 45 years old, but considered a classic, even if it's a more recent classic. I've been talking a lot, so I'm going to let Alex go first on this one. Alex, what are your thoughts, good, bad, indifferent, on Raiders of the Lost Ark?
It's rewatching. I mean, we did the franchise ranking on it, and then we watched it there, and then I had to hold some stuff because we were doing this,
right?
And I rewatched it again, which I'm going to do with Temple of Doom and Last Crusade. But rewatching it again, I'm like, man, they don't make movies like this adventure. Like, I'm talking about straight adventure movie, looking at a map, going to different locations, searching for items. You have good versus bad, right? And then you throw a little bit of supernatural elements in it, right? With this one, with the Ark. I think it's a fantastic movie. It's a very fantastic. Is it perfect? I think it's a perfect adventure movie. Is Indiana Jones a perfect Hollywood cinema character? I think he is. And it's crazy because this is the only franchise you could look at throughout history, and I'm talking about from like the 80s on up. I'm not talking about older stuff.
It was like
from the
recent
80s.
History.
Yeah, recent history. If you look at it, this is the only franchise that is created by one of the two most profound figures in cinema history. George Lucas and Steven Spielberg joined forces to create this character in 3 iconic movies. I mean, you got the new ones, but what I mean is, like, this is all from 2 geniuses of it. Now, granted, I mean, you can say whatever you want to say about George Lucas, but he has a mind of creativity. Now, I always wanted to know what other stuff he has, because come up with Star Wars, and he didn't want to do Indiana Jones, because I watched the documentary on one of the disc. And he was like, I didn't want to make the movie. He was like, I wrote this a long time ago. He goes, I wanted to see it come to life. And I was like, damn, that's pretty. I was like, that's crazy. Like, to do this, and you want someone else to do your work. Like, I just want to see it to come to life. And the crazy thing is that he, how he went to Steven Spielberg is just, it goes to his best friend, and then the rest is history. And then I like stuff like that when you grow with somebody in a field directing, right? They met in, I guess, film school, and they grew up together, and they make 2 of the most biggest franchises, Indiana Jones, Star Wars, right? And he's like, you know what? I'll give it to my best friend to do while I help and give ideas. They always go to Hawaii. That's what Steven Spielberg said. They always go to Hawaii together one time every summer with their families. And they knocked this thing out, they said, within 3 days. And I'm like, that's crazy. 3 days, them 3 plus the writer. That's nuts. But then again, that's a lightning in a bottle type thing, because even Ghostbusters was Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis locked themselves in a summer villa together, and they knocked out the entire Ghostbusters movie. So like when you have something and chemistry kicks in,
yeah,
I mean it's awesome. And to see those two guys grow up together and seeing the documentary, and you see them old talking about it like they were still young and they're so happy about it, how they came out. I think it's awesome. And now in terms of the movie's beautiful. I think it looks amazing. It's shot beautiful. It looks totally it doesn't look cinematic. It does not look cinematic. You could say it does, but if you really look at a cinematic, you're going, this looks very low budget. Like, if you look at it, like practical.
It was supposed to be a B movie inspired, and it only had $20 million budget, which
that's what I mean.
More, but it's not crazy high.
Right. If you look at it, it's a B movie, but that is shot in the hands of someone that knows how to work a camera. Like, he made all these iconic shots that everyone knows. There's tons of them throughout this whole movie when you're watching it. Off of $20 million. It's not $150 million, not $400 million. Now, what kills me is, and we're not going to tackle part 4 because part 4 is not. Oh, it is. It's part of this, right?
We're not doing 5.
We're not doing 5. Oh yeah. Okay, my bad. All right, I'll scratch that out. But what I mean is that it's crazy because with $20 million, I wish that's a formula that he continued throughout the others. And I'm not talking about the movies themselves. I'm talking about the budget wise.
Yeah.
I think that the later we get, and well, it could be the economics of the decades that we're going into. Plus, it's more expensive to do stuff. But I think this movie's awesome. You got the Nazis, right? You got Indiana Jones is cool. He has the love interest, which is Miriam, which I think was named after the writer's mom. Her name was Miriam or Marilyn or whatever. Marion. Yeah, that was the writer's mom's name. And he threw it in the script. I was like, that's pretty cool. You got Indiana Jones is named after George Lucas's dog. So I think that's pretty cool. I mean, at the end of the day, in a nutshell, it's beautiful. Plus, the score is amazing. It fits. Very mysterious in the beginning. You don't see Harrison Ford's body, bro. You don't even see his face. You just see silhouettes. You see his back. You see his arm. When the guy does the thing with the gun and he just turns his ear, then all of a sudden the whip cracks and then you see him just come out of the darkness. And I'm like, that's mad Batman, but not Batman. So, like, I think it's cool. There's a lot of elements here that I kind of like, and I wish they did now. Because I think the audience now needs some type of hero like this, but that's brand new, fresh, something that's never been done. And I think the audience would eat it up. I mean, look, they did it with the John Wicks. That was you know what I mean? Like, everyone could say it's a carbon copy of whatever, but at the end of the day, it was something fresh and new, and the audience ate it up. I mean, the money kept going up each film that dropped. So that means the audience was invested. I think that's what we need. We need another adventure character. Look at the Nicolas Cage movies, those national treasures, bro.
Yep.
People love those things, and I loved it. I'm like, yo, this thing, I mean, he could do like 8 of them, but they didn't do that. But again, people love adventure. And I don't understand why Hollywood is not giving people adventure films like that. People love treasure hunting. People love maps. It doesn't have to be treasure stuff. I mean, just people love that whole thing. I don't know. It's just me. But anyway, this movie's fantastic. It's awesome. Oh, and in the documentary, they show Tom Selleck doing the scenes with Miriam. And I thought that was dope. Yeah,
that's right.
It's pretty. But you know what's crazy? So I sat with my wife and we put it on. She was in and out. And I was like, yo, look, it's Tom Selleck as Indiana Jones. He was the first one. They casted him and everything. So I was like, oh, this is dope. And when you see it, I'm like, I could see why. Work. Yes.
Yeah.
He did the scene.
I have a question. He only didn't get it because he had the TV show, right?
That's the only reason. Yeah.
It wasn't because it wasn't like the Eric Schultz thing in Back to the Future where they didn't like what he was doing. It was just because he couldn't finish filming because of
Magnum
PI.
Magnum PI. Yes,
yes,
he was contracted for Magnum PI, just like Michael J. Fox. And Michael J. Fox made it work because he said, "Oh, I'll go after work and we'll do the night scenes and then whatever.
Yeah.
But with this dude, he was contracted and they were like, nope, you ain't doing no damn movie. You're Magnum
He
PI.
must have been mad.
Oh, he told, yeah,
He must have been mad.
I bet he would. But in the Raiders doc, you see him doing the scene where they're in the bar. Remember when they meet? He goes, "I'm looking for the documentary," and she smacks him, and they do that whole thing. Dude, he sounded like Harrison Ford. I was like, yo, I could totally see it. He had the same charisma, the same like presence. And my wife said the same thing. She was like, yeah, I could totally see it. I mean, he got to shave that
He had the look.
mustache.
He's tall. He's a tall guy.
He had the hat. It was pretty cool. It was like I don't want people to get confused. It wasn't him in the movie, like he shot the scenes. It was him in the audition, like them auditioning him. So he had a fake fedora. It wasn't the historical one. He had like a fake leather jacket. Like it was just him in these fake clothes. But he's doing the scene with females, but then you see him do it with the actual chick. And I thought he did pretty good, but then when you see Harrison, I was like, okay, totally different. So yeah. But George Lucas didn't want to give him. They didn't want to give it to Harrison Ford. He said no. Yeah,
I mean,
he told Steven
Tom
Spielberg,
Selleck is
nope.
3 years younger than Harrison Ford. So,
yeah.
And 3 inches taller. So Harrison Ford's a nice 6'1". Tom Selleck's 6'4".
He's
so
taller.
Big dude.
Yeah, he's taller.
Dude.
But
Look,
George Lucas told
I
him
could have
no.
seen him do it.
Yeah, George Lucas told him no. Like, no, you ain't doing Harrison Ford because then people are going to be like, you got Han Solo, and then Steven Spielberg's like, yo, he's an actor. He could do whatever. He has to do all this work. I liked it. I thought it was cool. Anyway, I'll let you guys go. But I thought it was a perfect movie.
Fantastic. All right. Evan, what did you think of this one?
I watched the documentary. I think there's like multiple documentaries, but the one about it's really not like a full on documentary, but them just filming it. It's not like a making of, but it's like this 2 hours of them doing. But there is this scene that Steven Spielberg talks about the making of the movie. He goes, "I do not want Indiana Jones to live in reality." He goes, this is not something that lives in reality. And I think that's so key to understanding the making of this film and what makes it great, because I could totally nitpick some scenes of Indiana Jones, right?
Yeah.
We could do, but that's not the point. That's not the point. Like him going in the submarine. Like, there's no way, because the submarine does go underwater. He's not in the submarine. He's going to drown.
Yeah.
But that's not the point of Indiana Jones. And I think that's key to understanding the sequels and maybe looking at the reviews, that's such a key to understanding a B movie. Because to Alex's point, I think this is a great movie. I think it's also a perfect movie because it knows what it is.
Yes.
It's not trying to be anything else. So like when you're saying, hey, we need more adventure movies and do something new and fresh, I don't know if it's new and fresh, but perfect the storytelling. I think that's what makes John Wick so good. It perfected that genre and that storytelling.
Yes.
When you perfect it and go, this is what we are, and not trying to be something glorious, bigger, or try to say, look at our new fresh take of this. Just say, Indiana Jones is this adventure person going on an adventure. Don't think too hard. Have fun. Yep. That's pretty much what this movie is telling us to do, and just have fun.
Yep.
I'm so thankful for whatever reason, because I do not think this movie would have been great if any other director did it. And the reason why, based off the movies we saw earlier, Steven Spielberg's direction of eye of cinematography, all these iconic shots are not actually scenes that have action or have, like, if you notice, like, there's very little. Maybe the statue has some movement, but like most of it, where we think of Indiana Jones and Raider, they're walking in a desert. It's Indiana Jones just standing there in the silhouette. Like, these glorious, perfect shots are just amazing. And you could just feel from the movie, if you know behind the scenes, that a team is working on it. Like, they're having fun, they're doing things, and everything that, once again, Steven Spielberg is so good at adapting, because one of the most iconic scene is with Indiana Jones, the guy doing the sword fight, and then boom, the gun.
Yep.
Right? That comes because everyone got sick from eating the food in that country, except for Steven Spielberg, who's brought a whole bunch of SpaghettiOs. He goes, so we're still filming, but Harrison Ford goes, I'm not in the mood. I'm just going to shoot the guy. instead of Steven Spielberg saying, that's dumb, that's not in the script, he goes, perfect, let's use it. Like you could just see constantly George Lucas, as you were describing, they're talking, they're saying, I want this, I want this. It's a collaboration and you just feel it. I do know for a movie that, based on the documentary, it looks like George Lucas was on the set almost throughout the whole making of the movie. So you could constantly see that. The writer was on the set. So they're adjusting the movie to make it better as the movie is making, but not changing it. I think that's a key point. It's not a rewrite. It's not like, oh, we need to definitely they're adjusting it in the moment. They're taking people's ideas, going, let's work. And you just see that. I think everyone's cast perfectly. I don't know who you would change.
No.
I think everyone's thinks, and just such a simple story. Like really, the guy's hand being burned. Like if I think too hard, how's that going to really work? But you don't. The movie takes you out of that reality. It's what I think Alex was saying, that it's not cinematic in the sense of it, but it is a perfect film that draws you in, saying this is the world you're living in. And I just love it. I don't know what else I go. It's just a great film. I think Harrison Ford is perfect. I do think I've seen the Tom Selleck thing. I think that could have worked.
Yeah.
I think we don't talk about how great Miriam is, the actress who plays Miriam. I don't think we talk about how great she is in this movie. I think she holds such a strong thing.
What's her name? Karen Allen.
Karen Allen. Yeah. She holds this femininity, but a strong will that is often not written right in films, that I think gets this correct. Right? So she's not trying to be overly feminine and then strong. She is this woman who is strong, if that makes sense. Like I just love that writing. And every little character, every little scene is just so much fun. My favorite part that I love as a history is when the people from the CIA, from the army at the beginning, and he's drawing on the chalkboard, and Indiana Jones thinking, because I'm a historian, I go, that's my dream. Like all of a sudden I see something and the boom boom off. So I mean, like this movie probably is a big influence why I'm a historian and what I do is what I do. And so I just love it. I think you could definitely nitpick it if you want to. I could go through and I could say this part doesn't make sense. But I'm so glad I watched that documentary, because I think Steven Spielberg saying this is not supposed to be a reality show. It's not supposed to live in reality. Where like Close Encounters was saying, what if UFOs really happen? That's like they're saying, here's reality. Yeah. What if UFOs were real? This is saying, no, we're just going to have an adventure. Just because there's no way like he's pulling out the whip and doing the gun. Like there's no way that could happen like physically, because that's a lot of movement and a lot of things, but I don't care. Because you see people who tear it apart online and I go, I'm all for it. And I think, I don't want to get too far, but there's those elements in the other ones that they stay true to. And I think that's a key element to understanding what Indiana Jones is supposed to be, that B movie, fun adventure. No, don't think too hard about it. Just enjoy the ride.
Nice. Well, you know what's crazy? I didn't watch that documentary, and I still would never think this lived in reality, because the guy's face gets melted off at the end. Anybody who watches this movie and is like, this is not realistic, I don't know what to tell you. I agree with you guys. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what movie you were watching. I don't know what movies you watch. Maybe you only watch documentaries. This is fiction, and therefore anything can happen. Sure, it's it's on Earth. They go to real countries. There's Nazis. But like, come on, this deals with them finding the Ark of the Covenant, which is in perfect, pristine condition when they find it. They open it and their faces get melted off. Like, give me a break. Listen, this movie is amazing. Amazing. Fantastic film. I agree with both of you. I do think it's a perfect film. I think it is a perfect adventure film. I think it's a perfect any kind of film. I agree also that hindsight is always 20/20. So the movie's out. And so you could say, I can't see anyone, Harrison Ford, that's it. I could see Tom Selleck having done this at the time in 1981. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. He had charisma. He was a star in his own right. Sure, mostly TV, but he did some movies. But we're not talking about like some bum who was like, no, Michael J. Fox was a TV actor before he did Back to the Future. So who's to say that this wouldn't have launched him into A-list movie star territory? It very well could have, and I think he would have played it. But that being said, Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones. He got the job, and two of the most iconic roles ever in the, within a 4-year span, right? He's playing Han Solo and Indiana Jones.
And I forgot to add this, something about Harrison Ford, why it ended up being perfect. He's a stunt man. So that's where he does almost a lot of his own stunts. He wanted to be a stunt man in the beginning. So he's kind of trained in this thing that I think Tom Selleck wouldn't have done. And so there would have been an iconic shot, but it would have worked. I still think it would have worked at that time.
So, okay. So my thoughts on the movie itself, after those sort of general broad statements, I agree the cast is all extremely well picked, from your lead character all the way down to the most minor character in the movie. They look the part. They feel the part. The villains are fantastic here. You hate them. And as you should. There are times where I watch a movie where it's like the villain is bad, but you kind of like them. This is not one of those, but it's still like works exactly how you want it to, because they are charismatic. They are interesting to watch. They're just annoying and I hate them. And that's exactly what you want. Even now, this guy just keeps showing up every time he finds something. He's like, ha, I got you again. It's like, oh my gosh, I haven't even seen all the other times, but I hate this guy. I hate him so much. Marion, and we're going to get into this as we go, and Alex already knows. We're going to get into the women of Indiana Jones. She's the best one. There's a reason why she's in 3 out of the 5 of them. There's a reason why, and it's because she is the best character. I think you made a good point, Evan, but really, I want to say this. You talk about comparing to modern films. There's a whole thing of the strong woman character in movies. There's so many of these old movies, 70s, 80s, into the 90s, where you had that while they're still women. They're not men. They're not doing things men do, right? She's doing some action, but she's not out here beating, uppercutting dudes into space and doing martial. She gets captured. She gets, she has to escape, but she's tough and she tries to escape. And she uses her wits. She uses her femininity. The part where she's getting him drunk, where she wants to escape and she grabs the knife and all that. Great. I love Marion. I think she's a fantastic character. I think Karen Allen played her perfectly. I think they have great chemistry, her and Harrison Ford. You could tell there's a history without seeing what the history is. And I think a lot of that is based off of the acting of the two of them, right? Because they could have done flashbacks showing them dancing in the lilies and whatever love story they have, but they did not. They just mentioned things, and you're like, oh, she's mad at him, and he's, he still loves her, but you could tell there's some history there.
Just don't do the math, because if you know their history,
because there's always the age thing, which is creepy, but different time. A lot of times with these movies, I have to just be like, you know what, not different time. What was looked at that time, different. But yes, I agree with you. Also, I think the movie's kind of timeless in that even though it's an 80s movie, it's set in the 40s. So even at the time, it was set in an older time. So you can watch this now and it doesn't feel particularly dated, in my opinion. Maybe the effects, because at the end, with the face melting, it's practical. I think it still looks I think it looks great. It's that movie magic type effect, but it's not CGI. So other than that, this movie holds up extremely well. You watch it on 4K, it looks fantastic. There's no reason to, it's not oh, this feels like an 80s movie. No, it just feels like a movie that I like. I agree with Alex too. So many iconic shots. This one in particular, I always consider it the montage movie, in that whenever they have these film montages, so many of the Indiana Jones stuff is from this movie. The hat thing with the silhouette, the gold thing where he's just standing kind of looking at it, the boulder coming after him, the gun part, that's in so many montages. The guy with the sword and he just goes and walks away,
Him running
Amazing.
through the field and the dude's behind him. He like, start the engine.
Yes. Oh, and then all the guys come over the hill and and that's ripped out of like Pirates of the Caribbean copied that with Jack Sparrow running and all the people come. Like so many other movies that followed this borrowed from it, and rightfully so. I feel like when you're great, you deserve, people are going to copy you or take things from you that are whatever. So I think the cast is great. I think the characters are great. Evan, I agree with you in the story is perfectly constructed. It's not trying to be more than what it is. It's an adventure movie. Like Alex said, you got treasure maps and you got, archaeological digs, and they're trying to find this thing. And the Nazis are trying to find it first. There's good guys and bad guys. It's black and white. This is not a, shades of gray type movie. Yeah. But I think that's why it works. Sometimes you just need, these guys are good. These guys are bad. This is what they're going after and why. And that's it. That's all you get. Fantastic. The music, iconic. I don't know how one person can come up with this many iconic scores. With John Williams is the greatest of all time. I don't care. Music that to this day, 50 years old, you hear it, you know what movie it is, and you know who made it. And Indiana Jones is no different. The Raiders March or whatever, which is like the name of the theme, perfection, fantastic. I have no problem with this movie. Yeah.
I was gonna say with John Williams, they're similar, but they don't sound exactly like when you get Danny Elfman, you get all these others. Like it's a Danny Elfman score. Yeah, like it's so distinctly John Williams. Sometimes you got to look up: is this really John Williams? Because he doesn't live in a sound genre. But there's notes to it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And we're going to find out as we go through these movies because he scored like 30 of them or something. So you're going to get to like, I don't know. This is, for example, spoiler alert, 93. You're going to have Jurassic Park and Schindler's List, which came out in the same year. And those scores couldn't sound any more different. And they're both iconic and they're both the same guy. So I agree with you 100%. Like Raiders does not sound like E.T., but they're like you hear them and you know exactly what movie that's from. So,
I didn't even know. My bad. I didn't even know he did Harry Potter until you told me. I was like, "What? Like, really? He did Harry Potter?
The first Harry Potter movie. That's his. That was his theme. Like the guy is insanely good always. And I have no flaws here. Like I always like to do positives then negatives. I don't have a negative. Like there's nothing in this movie that I don't like. I like the action, the adventure style action. I like that it's kind of violent, like pretty violent for a PG movie. Again, you get people's face getting melted off. You get a guy getting killed by a plane propeller and blood splatters on the thing. Like this is a pretty edgy movie for a 1981 PG, but I love that about it. Like you could watch it, you could let a kid watch it, but there's going to be some scary things in it, right? You're seeing Alfred Molina's dead body with all the spikes, like in it. That's not a very PG. You wouldn't get away with a PG now with that, but in 81, that's why them 80s kids are different because they watch stuff like this at the theater and they liked it and they were not scared. So a flawless movie, in my opinion. I don't have any negatives. Do you guys have any negatives? Like, is there anything that you're like you would change or think was different, Alex? Or Evan?
No, go ahead. Go.
I was gonna say the one that always like gets my mind is when they're digging the hole to find that room to do the thing, and they're in Egypt. Indiana Jones, in Egypt, and Indiana Jones is in the turban, the white stuff. But now that it's digging, he gets out of it. Why does he get out of it? Like, what happens when that show? That's the only time. But I love it because you get that iconic scene of him putting on the hat and getting dressed. I love that scene.
That's why he did it. That part.
Yeah, but that's the one that every time I go and watch it, that I go, "Why are you getting out of it? Aren't you still undercover?"
Yeah, fair.
But the
scene
looks amazing.
You have to like nitpick almost. Alex, is there anything that's like, because even Jaws, we did Jaws, and I gave that a 10, but I had a gripe at least. I was like, I don't like that part's kind of boring. I feel like they could have, here, not for me, but is there anything for you like that?
Yeah, I wanted to see more Bullock. I think Bullock is not utilized enough in this movie. He's not a great, the thing is, everyone thinks he's a villain, But he's not a villain. He's like an anti-villain.
He's
type
an antagonist to Harrison, to Indiana Jones.
I mean, he is, but he's another archaeologist. So, like, to me, like, I don't see it's
but
just
he's working with the Nazis. That automatically makes you a villain.
Yeah, I mean you're bad, but what I mean is, it's like,
but he's not a villain.
He doesn't like kill people.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, he has his morals.
He kidnaps. Huh?
Well, he does kidnap, but what I mean is like he has his more. But what I'm trying to say is like I wanted to see more with him to see how bad he is at his job. Because if you really look at it, Indiana Jones is the one that always finds the treasure. And he's like, well, again, Mr. Jones, whatever you find, I take. Yeah, he's good at taking the damn thing. So I'm like, I wanted to see like, and I guess Steven Spielberg did do it for you in terms of this movie. In a way that, I don't know, maybe people realize it or not, but like the scene of them digging. He's digging at the wrong place in Indy because he had the medallion and stuff, but still, he found the location. And again, it's like, Bullock was like, wait a minute, get your men. Like, what's going on over there? Like, he knew Indy was already over there. The minute he saw that shit, he's like, oh boy. And he's like, hello, Dr. Jones.
Yeah.
Like, that always makes me laugh.
Annoying.
Yeah. That's what makes a good villain. It's someone that just irks you, and you're like, man, like this dude is like everywhere this guy goes is like, good evening, Jones.
He's a pest.
And I was like, all right, he is,
and he's a complete opposite of Indiana Jones. Like we're talking, Indiana Jones is pure, trying to do this for the good. This guy's just doing it for the money
and for the power,
and for the power. Like so, he's the complete opposite of Indiana Jones.
So he's if Indiana Jones was evil.
Yes, like an evil version of him. Yes. And it's you know, it's funny because I watched the making of the Raiders of the Lost Ark. It was like 50 minutes long. And what I liked about that documentary is that they gave it to you in a way that it's throughout the scenes building towards the end. So I was like, that's pretty interesting. That. So and I just wanted to highlight this because I was like, whoa. So the scene that they go into the to get the Ark, and you see all the snakes. So there were 2,000 snakes they threw. And I was like, wait, those were rubber? No, those were all real snakes, right? So Steven Spielberg, and you see them trying to film, and he wanted to use a wide lens. And when you see the wide lens, it was empty. And he goes, oh, this is not happening. And he looked at George, and he tells George, we need like 7,000 snakes. And George goes, it's not that big of a deal. He goes, no, we need 7,000 snakes plus on top of the 2,000 we have. We need snakes. So he goes, find snakes. So this dude was like, can you find that much? And the guy goes, yeah. Long story short, they find all the snakes and they're everyone.
They got evil snakes.
So you see Steven Spielberg like telling one of the DP guys, he's like, watch it, that snake is really about to bite you right now. You see Harrison like right there laughing, and they said some of them got bit, but they were non-venomous. Like I want people to know. They were non-venomous, but they were pythons. So it was pretty funny. But anyway, but it was kind of fun though seeing that because that's really practical. And you could see it when he falls. Certain snakes, you can see like he's like backing up really, really slow. And I'm like, man, he's doing that pretty good. But not knowing that they were all real snakes on the damn thing. And the tarantula scene was real tarantulas. Yeah. So Alfred Molina is talking about it. And he goes, those things did not move. And Steven was telling, he was like, Steven is like, what's going on here? We need it to move. And the the tarantula handler goes, well, the only way we make it move is we put a female. And he said that the minute they put the female on his chest, he said that they all started moving. And the scene that you see the shot of him like freaking out, it was him really freaking out. He was like, dude, I was freaking out. And they had to like
they use
smack
like
it off.
Real reactions in the movie.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Like
but
when
anyway,
John Belushi fell off that plane wing and he left.
I will say this. I'm starting to enjoy the behind the scenes watches now. Yeah. Like normally I don't care behind the scenes stuff, but now I'm starting to enjoy it. I think I'm going to go back and watch them for my favorite movies because it's pretty cool. I learned a lot of stuff about this movie that I never even
But you know what? When you watch behind like documentaries like this on a filmmaker who's like one of the best or the best, it's way more interesting because the movies are great. most are great. And the filmmaker's great and interesting. Like Spielberg's a great talker. He's not like one of those directors who's like, he just directs and then he tells good stories. He's engaging. He's not like Bob Gale from that 1941 documentary where he wants you to just go to sleep every time he opens his mouth. Spielberg's engaging. So I agree. I like watching. For this one, I didn't have time to watch any of that. I just had time to watch the movie because I was on vacation. But I have been putting on those documentaries and behind the scenes things because I think his are always super interesting.
It is. He makes you feel like he makes you feel like you're part of the crew. Like I felt like I was part of it. Like
because I was going to say because he enjoys making films.
Yeah,
like Steven Spielberg. Like I've watched a couple of the Clint Eastwood behind the scenes. Man, that's so boring. Clint Eastwood is so like because he likes making movies, but he's not like watching these are just so fun. Christopher Nolan is also fun because they nerd out in the process of making film. Like not just making a film is fun, but not the film final, but the making the whole process of the film thing they both love, and you just see that love in that. And I actually say George Lucas actually some of the Star Wars stuff like TV shows, his documentaries on making the TV shows and watching are better than the show itself because they're just so interesting. And so, but you just Steven Spielberg looks like he's living his best life. Like he loves what he's doing. It's not like, oh, I'm doing this for a job. He goes, I'm blessed to be doing this. I can't believe I'm doing this.
Oh yeah, you could see it. You could see it when he was talking about it in the making. Like him and George, like they were. See, I wish they were together when they were doing it, but it was separate. Like the older version of him, and you see like this dude in a sweater, and he's talking about it. But you could see that they both enjoy what they do, and I kind of liked it. It invites you into the film more, and you get to see the process, and you get to see like Steven Spielberg's thing was, I'm not making this over budget. I'm not going over the days. I wanted to make it as fast as possible because he said that every movie he did, he went over budget and over production, like meaning he went like 100 days in Jaws and in other movies too. So like he wanted to make this one shorter, quicker, less money. And even George Lucas said that he went to other studios that turned him down, and they didn't want to give them the $20 million. They said no.
Paramount said,
Paramount was like, do what you got to do. But so again, the documentary is very interesting, and I'm starting to enjoy seeing the behind the scenes and stuff. And I thought it was pretty cool. He loves this character, so he loves this character to death. So
and it's crazy. Like this is an original character. It's not. Yeah. Sure. You know, the way he is might be inspired by real life people, but it's not from a book. It's not from an old serial. It's not it's like original, just ideas created from their mind. Yeah. And the fact that this was nominated for 8 Academy Awards is also crazy. They intentionally made a B movie, but it's made so well that it still got nominated for 9 Academy Awards. Like that just shows you the talent and the creativity behind the whole thing. So that being said, an all-timer, arguably the greatest adventure film or adventure franchise of all time. Alex, what do you give this movie as far as a score?
I've been giving it a 10 out of 10. I think you have the best score, one of the best scores. You got a great actor, great cast, like Evan said. The entire cast is good. Even the Nazi guys are good. And even the dude with the glasses freaks me out. And I thought he was pretty good. So everything was pretty cool. And another fun fact, quick, George Lucas shot a lot of scenes in the movie. They don't give him credit because he's the credit, but they do. You see him behind the cameras he did the second camera, whatever, not the main.
He did like second unit stuff.
Yes, he did all because he said he loves doing that. And you see him in the second unit shooting. And I was like, damn, that's dope. I'm telling you, I think that's one of the coolest things when you're friend and you could bug out and do movies together. And I think that's one of the coolest things.
The results show that
yes,
some creative people were working on this. Evan, what do you got as far as a score for this one?
It's a 10 out of 10. I don't have a complaint.
All right. Well, we'll make it a trifecta. I also have this as a 10 out of 10. I'm not going to sit here and be like, this is a perfect movie. 8 out of 10. That doesn't even make any sense. So
we all know who does that.
Yeah, not me, but we know a guy. Yeah, so this is out of the ones we've done so far, the second one that got all 10s across the board. I don't think it'll be the last, but we'll see. It could be the last as far as 3 10s. I know each of us will have some future 10s. I know it, but maybe they won't all line up, which is going to be interesting to see. So that being said, the next movie that we will be covering, which will be the 7th in Steven Spielberg's filmography, is from 1982, so the very next year. And that's the other thing that's crazy. I just want to, before I say the name, the fact that this guy was churning out like classic movies every year or every 2 years is an insane proposition. Even you say Nolan, right?
Yeah.
He did Dunkirk, and then it took a while, and then he did Tenet, and then it took a few years, and then he did Oppenheimer, and now a few more years, and you're getting the Odyssey. Like, this was Sugarland Express 74, Jaws 75, Close Encounters 77, 1941, okay, not the biggest hit, but still 2 years, 79. Then this in 81, and now in 1982, E.T. is the next film that we're going to be covering. And then after that, it's only a 2-year gap again. So you're looking at, this guy was working constantly. He barely stops. He doesn't take a break till he gets older. And then you'll start to see a little bit of time in between. Also, he's older. He's made a lot of money.
He has kids.
It ain't like you got to churn these things out. But so our next film will be E.T. I am so interested in that one because Alex hates it. And so I want to see if doing this show, maybe he's like, you know what? Now that I've seen 6 straight Steven Spielberg movies, I don't hate this movie. Or if he says, still hate this stupid movie. And I have no idea what Evan thinks, and y'all don't know what I think. So it's going to be very interesting discussion when we talk about E.T., but that's the next one we got coming up. Of course, please make sure you give us a thumbs up on the video if you're enjoying these Director Spotlight videos, and leave us a comment with your review or your thoughts, your score on Raiders of the Lost Ark. Let us know if it's your favorite indie or your non-favorite indie. If you're not already, please consider subscribing to the channel. Excuse me, and hitting the bell icon. That way you get notified when the new videos drop every Friday. You will get a new Director's Spotlight video. So, gentlemen, anything you would like to add before we head out?
Oh, I'll add this. One more fun fact. In the beginning of the movie, when he's walking and you see that mountain, that's the Paramount Mountain.
Oh, what it's inspired by?
Yeah, it blends into the logo. You see the logo and then it blends out. He did that intentional. He wanted them to search for a mountain that looked exactly like the logo. So he got that. That was going to be the beginning shot of the entire movie. I love
it's that the weirdest, that, except the 4th one when it's like a molehill or something.
Yeah, he said that he wanted to get the Paramount logo in the film to like. So again, it's cool. You got some Star Wars stuff in the movie. You got the R2D2 inside the
C3PO.
Yeah, 3CPO. So there's a lot of stuff there if you see it. So it's pretty cool.
Fun facts galore.
Mad fun
Evan,
facts.
Anything you want to add before we head out?
Just enjoy the film. Don't think too hard.
Yeah.
Too hard. Go on an adventure. And make sure you guys check out all these Steven Spielberg movies. Watch along with us as we go through them. So until next time, I'm Nate. That's Alex. That's Evan. Remember to be awesome to each other and geek out.